Hello and welcome to my Budapest break, where first I'll be baking a cake. For me, the real standout smell of Budapest was the chimney cake stands that I saw. So when I saw a course for it and I was kind of bored and wanted something to do, I decided to go and do a class for it. Believe it or not, wasn't very good. Took 3 people, other than myself, just to help roll it out for me to cut it up and get started. Anyway, it was a nice time to meet people, try and make something different. And yeah, it's quite interesting. You put it around this stick and then in this special oven where it rotates, and then when it's ready you get it out, put it around in a topping, I don't really know what you'd call it, and yeah, take it off and you can eat it. Despite the smell, I didn't really like it, to be honest. I'm not really a big fan of that sort of stuff, I've realised. Still a nice experience, and I got my own certificate, which doesn't really prove much. I really did a bad job and everyone got one, but it was well worth it for the experience, even if I just ended up trying to give it away at many opportunities. After that, I had a bit of a wander and a ponder if I wanted to spend over $3.50 just to see some fancy toilets, or creative more like. Anyway, after paying and not even realising that I didn't get this barcode receipt thing, which someone kindly got for me, which was nice. Anyway, I went down and it's quite a groovy, funky place. Yeah, I don't really review toilets, so I don't really know what to say about it, but it was a nice experience and the toilets did in fact work. And I can also only speak on the men's side, so if you're a lady and end up going, then maybe you'll see something different. Anyway, I headed off to the one thing that was the reason I actually went on the trip. It was the thermal baths, and I think it's the biggest one that there is there, and the most famous one, I suppose. And despite being more than £40 to enter, which was fine, and very reluctantly paying nearly £12 for a pair of cheap flip-flops. Anyway, I went, and I had a great time. And just, yeah, might sound kind of strange, but just being in the water, the minerals they have or whatever, the saunas, it was just a great relaxation that really was the thing that I wanted. You may realise that I haven't got any footage of the sauna, and that is because I actually broke my camera. Water ended up going in when I believe I went around this bit where kind of water pushes you around, and I dropped my camera and ended up picking up with my feet and then presumably opened up one of the doors on the side that let some water in, and yeah, it kind of just broke. Anyway, I did actually have insurance for it, so it was a very nice $32.99 that I'd spent, and that's for 3 years, so I ended up getting a camera that I wanted more anyway, which is actually quite nice, and hopefully the colour should be a bit better now. Anyway, despite all that, I just did have a really great time, and it was the highlight of the trip for me. It was, yeah, just something I would really recommend. You might realise I didn't just exactly snap my fingers and end up in a bakery, and that's because my first day just wasn't really that great. When I got to Budapest, I walked around, went to this park, and I was bored, and I was just waiting for my hostel to open. Had a look. Also, when you're away, just looking up, especially with AI, it makes things a bit simple sometimes, just somewhere to eat, somewhere to go, that sort of thing. Found somewhere to eat, quite a nice cafe, had this vegan goulash, which goulash I think is quite a popular Hungarian dish. Anyway, had that and I enjoyed it. But then it turns out that I just had it around my mouth for quite a while. Went for a bit of a walk and ended up seeing this museum, which turns out it wasn't for children, but it was cheap. So, yeah, it was kind of interesting. Anyway, after the baths, I went on a river cruise at night, which was quite nice. It was a bit chilly, but got to see the sights, learn about the history. It was pretty decent. And a bit different to the first day, the third and final full day was actually quite exciting. I decided to go to 2 museums, so it'd be easier to not have my bag around. This one, which was like an art exhibit with lights and different exhibitions. I don't really know how to describe it. And this retro museum about kind of the Soviet era and different accomplishments in Hungary and different parts of the life, which was quite nice. And then I went over to the Buda side, which is where my hotel was for the night. I ended up putting my shorts on because it actually warmed up quite a bit. And then I went out to the Tshirts hill, if I remember it correctly. A nice green bit with a hill, and yeah, it was nice. And then I went to this tour around Buda Castle with folklore Dracula bit in it as well. Anyway, it was quite nice to learn about the history. The tour guide was really into it, I would recommend it. And then I ended up chatting to someone who was on the tour, and then we ended up getting a drink. And by the time that we'd finished talking and stuff, it was after 12:30, and my flight was, I think, before 6 o'clock. I didn't really have much time to go to sleep, so it was really cold. I was in my shorts. Kind of nice seeing the town at night. But anyway, just kind of rushed home and took the bits of transport that I could. And then by the time I'd showered and everything, I was in bed for less than 15 minutes and then got up and went. But it was worth it. It was a nice chat and yeah, just nice to socialise. Nice person. And then yeah, took the bits of transport and off I went. Anyway, getting back to the hostels, yeah. For the 3 nights, I stayed at a hotel that last night, as I explained. It was quite nice, but you used the key to get into the room, but then you left it when you went out, which does not seem secure at all. Anyway, the 2 hostels I went to, the first night, it was fine enough. Hares and whatnot, it's not great, but it was 20 something pounds and 4 beds, so it wasn't that bad. Except for someone just snored, which wasn't great. But then my second hostel was less than £9 a night, which was cheap. And also the only 1-star one there was. Anyway, it was nice enough, except there was hairs on the hairdryer. They were cheap enough. And at the second one, someone else snored. But I did put some earplugs in, so it wasn't as bad. Anyway, it's not left a great impression of hostels, but they're cheap, and they've also got information of different things you can do, so that's nice. And going with the hostel backpacking life, I suppose you could call it. I just took a backpack because for the flights before I changed it. It was £40 I think for a return, about the same price as a Nintendo Switch game, so great value. And although it wasn't great to lug a heavy bag around, and I'll get into it later, but wasn't great for the trip, it was a great cheap way to get around. And you might also realise that I was wearing the same t-shirt and I've worn more clothes just to make this video. And don't worry, I didn't absolutely stink, even if I did break my deodorant. It's made of merino wool, which is anti-odour, and I tried to see how it would do for the days. I did have a backup just in case. My mum thought it smelled like I'd worn it once, and I'd had it out overnight, so considering the circumstances, I think it's a great option, especially when you're travelling so much, being able to just wear less clothes. It might sound disgusting, but trust me, if you try it, you'll realise it's just way more convenient. Getting on to things I recommend, I'll have some things on screen, and yeah, the main thing for me was the baths. The reason I went. And then for some tips, the main one for me is just to get the Budapest Go app. Without it, I really struggled to find out what transport to take, and it's actually just really simple. You can buy tickets or get a pass. 72-hour pass if you're only there for a few days seems a quite good value. You just put in your driver's license, passport, something like that, and then a few details. Anyway, it's like you're playing Pokemon Go in 2016. Just get out your phone a lot and you validate your tickets. So if it's a bus or a tram, you scan it outside. Or a train, usually at the station, you scan it before you go in. Yeah, it was cheap, convenient, quite a few that just came past during the day, so if you miss one, don't worry, there's probably one not too long after. And also, the pink water is the still water. I like bubbles, but not in my drinks, so yeah, I found out the hard way. And also, you can recycle at big supermarkets. Either you can get paid at this special machine, or you can just put it in a regular recycling bit. As for a review of the holiday for myself, it was quite nice. The highlights were high, let's say, but yeah, just a lot of the time I was carrying a heavy bag around and just aimlessly wandering, which is my own fault to be honest, so not really a reflection of the place, but yeah, it was just really not a great idea and I didn't think about it enough. There's lots to do and it wasn't that expensive, so yeah, would recommend.